Boston's first annual Agricultural Exposition will take place on October 16th. The event's organized by the Trustees, Agricultural Hall, and Haley House. To tell us what's planned is our guest from the Trustees, the Engagement Site Manager for the South End and Lower Roxbury, Peter Bowne. Thank you very much for being with us, Peter.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, Chris.
At first, this sounds a bit unlikely, an agricultural exposition in the middle of the city. What's going on here?
Isn't that the perfect part of all of it? So we really were looking for a way to talk about how to sort of celebrate and encourage gardening and local food growing throughout the city, and also shopping for healthy food. So we looked at our community gardens, at local backyard growers, and also at local agriculture, folks who bring food into the farmers markets. And the Trustees, we're a statewide organization. We have 5 or 6 working farms across the state. So some of our folks will be there as well.
Now, I'm imagining a spectrum of people you're trying to reach. Everything from people who are practically full-time farmers to, kids who want to see animals.
Exactly. When was the last time you saw a goat in the middle of the city? And we're trying to get people to enter the goat milking contest. We're also doing, it really is sort of a modern take on an agricultural fair. Bill Perkins over at Agricultural Hall, one of our partners, has been doing this for a couple of years. And so this year we talked to him and we decided to bring all of our efforts together. So he's done a lot of the judged exhibits in the past. So we will have the vegetable exhibits, bring a pie, enter your pie in the contest, bring a preserve, bring a vegetable, either a wonderful heavy tomato or a crazy squash. You bring something, we'll make up a category for you.
Talk about what's this like, because I remember visiting an agricultural site in Roxbury, a huge greenhouse, and when I saw the tomatoes there, I was almost, I had trouble controlling myself. Talk about the impact of putting this right in front of people.
It is. It's about connecting people with their food, and about sort of as people make food choices, to be able to connect them with their farmers, and just with understanding what a real tomato that's freshly picked tastes like, instead of one from the supermarket that's traveled a couple of thousand miles.
We're talking with Peter Bowne from the Trustees. Peter, why actually decide to have this? Because, I think there's more to this than just what somebody might do with a little raised plot in the backyard.
Absolutely. So it is, it's been a tough year for anybody who's growing anything. From the community gardens have really sort of suffered. The backyard folks, I'm a backyard gardener. I have a couple of fruit trees. I have a vegetable plot. It's been a tough year. And the local farmers have really suffered if they haven't had an adequate water supply. So we really felt it was important to sort of bring everybody together and celebrate everything that they've done through this tough year, all while exposing folks who don't have sort of regular access out into the country to some of these things, and also to talk about healthy food, because that is a real piece of this. So we're going to have folks from the Office of Food Initiatives there talking about the Bounty Bucks program. We're talking to the DTA people about having SNAP eligibility folks there as well.
And for people who are not familiar, the Bounty Bucks means if you have what used to be called food stamps, there's an extra contribution, so the food's more affordable.
There is. If you go to a farmer's market in the city of Boston and you register your SNAP or food stamp card, for the first $10, and I'm being careful about this because it's different in different municipalities. In Boston, it's for the first $10 that you declare that you're going to spend in a farmer's market, the city has a grant-funded program that will give you an additional $10 to spend at the market. It makes the food more affordable, quite frankly.
It seems that what you're trying to do is almost change the culture around food. It's good for diet. It's also for the job base in this state, because we're talking about locally produced food.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are a lot of sort of very small initiatives around sort of locally growing and locally sourcing food. And a lot of those folks will be there as exhibitors at the event. And this is the first year, so we're starting small, but...
Well, talk about your partnerships here, because Haley House is involved. A lot of people know Haley House, the bakery cafe in Dudley Square. So they say, what does that have to do with agriculture?
They have always cared about food as a change agent, is the easiest way to put it. they have used food as a way to bring people together, as a way to sort of break down barriers, as a way to give people work and life skills. And in addition to that, they've had kids classes and teaching kids about healthy eating for years. I mean, this is their 50th anniversary.
But one of the other things about agriculture is that it's in the city's history. I mean, that hit home. I'm walking on Mission Hill one day, and I grab an apple off a tree,
Yep.
a Roxbury russet.
Exactly.
This is like 300, 400 years of history.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there's a project for folks who use the Roxbury russet to make hard cider. And I've met with them. They're not going to be able to be with us. But there's also a program with the Roxbury Historical Society in the past of reintroducing the Roxbury russet, the apple tree, into the neighborhood. And they have done some work with that. We're hoping to, at some point in the future, be able to work with them to sort of expand that program.
Well, tell me a little bit more of the detail about what's going to be happening on the 16th.
Okay, and this is an ever-evolving story here, as you know, in the nonprofit world. So it's from 10 to 4 on Sunday the 16th. It's a rain or shine event. It is in the parking lot adjacent to the Haley House. And what it is going to be, it's going to be set up mostly like a farmer's market, because that's my background. And so it will be a mix of these educational and nonprofit exhibitors who have all been asked not to bring both an activity and a request of the attendees, sort of a call for action, as it were. So it won't just be a static exhibit. Then we will have a number of sort of demonstrations throughout the day. Cider pressing, how to tap for maple syrup, that kind of thing. And then we'll also have probably what's a fairly small version of a farmer's market. We've got 5 or 6 vendors signed up. We're still willing to take people if they call me.
We should mention that this is a great time of year for farmers markets, so if people want to find about that or any more information about the exposition, is there some place they can look for that?
Absolutely. We have a website. We have a Facebook events page on this. Can I tell you one more thing here?
Please.
Okay. So we're also going to do activities, mostly for kids, but also for some grown-ups. And they are everything from pie eating contests to seed spitting, really sort of classic, fun, somewhat hokey, which some people would say, county fair events. But the highlight, I think, the thing that I'm looking most forward to is we're having a zucchini derby, which is essentially you kids, we're going to have art supplies and tables set up and boxes of zucchinis and wheels, and kids are going to decorate and make little race cars out of zucchinis. And we're going to have a track, and they're going to get judged not only on the best zucchini racer design, but also we're going to have time trials.
Hey.
And we will have a winner.
Thank you very much for being with us.
All righty, thanks.
Peter Bowne from the Trustees.